What's poppin'? It's your boy Big Stacks Porzingis, episode 5. Right off the bat, because we don't have much time to waste. Trade and block, we still have Steven Adams and Dennis Schroeder. Untouchables, y'all already know what that is. We 2 months into the season. We literally at January 1st. It's the start of the new year. This is now officially 2020 in the series. 2 months in, we are 13-20. A lot better than I expected, but I think we kind of right where we want to be. Obviously, we're trying to rebuild this thing, so we're not looking to make the playoffs. Just to refresh our memories, the standings right now, as far as the West goes, we have Los Angeles at 1, Denver 2, Houston 3, Minnesota 4 after that Chris Paul and Gallinari trade, Utah 5, Phoenix is 6, Golden State 7, Los Angeles Clippers at 8. And then at 9, 10, and 11, we have 3 teams kind of all tied together with the Pelicans, Blazers, and Spurs. The Spurs and Blazers are 2 teams that we all know in real life over the past couple of years have been playoff for guarantees, basically. So right now, they're on the outside looking in. The Clippers are struggling. They got a couple of injuries. I know Pat Bev is not healthy for them right now. And I'm guessing Paul George or Kawhi might have missed a chunk of time, but now back. I still have to go in and adjust Darren Collison's rating so that he isn't playing because he did retire. And all of the guys that retired, got suspended, or whatever, I lowered them down so that CPU couldn't sign them or play with them. So I still have to do that with him. As far as the East is, we have the Bucks 1, Raptors 2, Celtics 3, Pistons 4. We just did the trade with the Pistons. They just got Roberson. Philadelphia 76ers are at 5 on the outside of home court advantage as far as the playoffs go. We got the Bulls at 6, Knicks at 7, and then the Magic at 8. And then we got the Pacers and Nets who have been in the play, and the Heat all outside of the playoffs who've been in their recent years. Looks like the Heat are kind of out of it. The Nets and the Pacers are still knocking on the door to try to get in. And the reason I'm highlighting those teams is because those teams seem like they need a push. More specifically for the West, I'm looking at the Blazers and Spurs, seeing that they need a push. Last episode, we went over some trades that might have gone down. I got some of y'all feedback as far as the DeRozan trade. A lot of people were saying CJ, Dame, and DeRozan probably wouldn't be a good mix. I also agree with that. But one thing that I really want to do is kind of look at the Spurs, because when I looked at a lot of different people on this roster, I'm going all the way down to the bottom with Drew Ebanks. Just look at their morale. If you look at Drew Ebanks, you see the last name, and it goes height, weight, age, fatigue, morale. So I'm going to go across this list and look at the morale. He's just restless. I don't know why he's tired. He's probably not logging in a lot of minutes, so he's probably just restless. But then you see he's annoyed, and you see all of the red arrows. He's annoyed. He's annoyed. He's discouraged. Keldon Johnson is upset. He's unsatisfied. He's upset. Bellinelli's used to the Spurs system. He's just like, okay, whatever. Patty Mills, okay, whatever. Trey Lyles is uneasy. Jakob is anxious. DeMar Carroll is perky. Derek White is unsettled. DeJounte Murray isn't happy or sad. He's just tolerable. He's just like, it is what it is. Rudy Gay, left Achilles day-to-day, and he's unsettled with $14 million on his contract. And then Aldridge is anxious. DeRozan is just content. So nobody in this entire roster is happy. Everybody's either upset, mad, or they're just like, it is what it is. I'm playing, so I guess I'm a little happy. So I want to do something with this team as far as trades, because they got some young guys that I like. They also have some contracts that are very, very packed with money. You're looking at one right now with Patty Mills making $12.4 million over the next 2 years. You also look at a guy like Rudy Gay, who is making $14 million over the next couple of years at only 81, 33, and he's still dealing with his Achilles injury. So they have some guys like that, heavy in the money, a little bit older. But then at the end of this roster, you see some guys like Keldon Johnson. You see Lonnie Walker, who for some reason is starting for them. Bryn Forbes is a serviceable player coming off of your bench, adding some shooting. Trey Lyles, I like. Jakob is only 24, is a 7-footer. So it's some guy, even Derek White. He's a little bit older at 25, late bloomer, but he can give you some quality basketball and can come to a nice young core and be one of the older players in that young core. So I want to try to get one of these guys, mix them into our young core, and also see if we can get them a boost. Maybe the trade that I had initially with Steven Adams and Schroeder and DeRozan going to Portland, maybe that won't be the best. But I think the main episode focus of this one is going to be to try to get a deal done to give a team like the Spurs a boost, or a team like the Blazers a boost. And maybe it may not be a 3-team trade where all of us trading and dealing with each other. It might be another team that we add into the mix. I'm not sure. I know realistically, see, the thing about this is I'm trying to do my shit realistic. And a lot of people was saying like, oh, Lonnie Walker, he's unhappy, but he don't have a choice because he's a restricted free agent. Same thing with Zach Collins with the Blazers. He was unhappy. When you go look at their roster, he's saying he don't want to be there. He's not. There's no way he's returning. They both said the same thing about the team. It says right there at the bottom, I'm done with Portland. I'll be moving on to a new team after the season. I don't think a lot of people read that. Being quite honest, I just think they see the names and they're probably fans of these teams and they're like, no way, the Blazers are going to trade Zach Collins. He's a restricted free agent. He doesn't have a choice because he's restricted. You're right in the sense that he's restricted, but what people have to understand is, in a realistic standpoint or viewpoint, if Zach Collins really was unhappy, they would try to trade him in a situation like now. If the Blazers in real life were on the outside of the playoffs, Zach Collins was unhappy and was saying he's no way he's returning, he's just lashing out, saying he doesn't want to be in Portland for sure, he's done, they're not going to keep him. Even if he's restricted, they're not going to keep him. They're going to trade him at the deadline and try to get somebody or get some pieces that they can push into making the playoffs. Same thing with the Spurs. Yeah, Lonnie Walker, Zach Collins, these dudes are cool. They solid, young, good players. But they're not the type of players where an organization is going to rip their hair out and deal with them when they can trade them and try to get somebody valuable back to push them into the playoffs. The only players that really don't have the choice is guys like Karl-Anthony Towns, guys like Devin Booker, guys like Donovan Mitchell, high elite young guys that are going to get max type contracts to where their team is no way they're going to let those players go. There's no way they will. But when you're talking about like a Lonnie Walker, he's right now just a rotational player. Yeah, he has potential, but he ain't really done shit yet. Same thing with Zach Collins. In 4 or 5 seasons, Zach Collins isn't going to be the player right now from what we know and what we've seen. He's not going to be the lead face of the franchise carrying the Portland Blazers into the playoffs. He's just not. He's going to be, probably be a really good starter for them. Hopefully, be a real big contributor. But right now, he's not a player that they're going to just go crazy about, like, oh, we just must keep him. No, if he's unhappy, you're going to trade him. And you're going to try to get, I'm not saying they're going to trade him for nothing, but, DeMar DeRozan is an all-NBA player, an NBA all-star, and he's a third guy. In a league that has so many different type of duos and multiple guys, trios or whatever, that's the only reason I put DeRozan with them. Is because you have boom, boom, and then you get a third all-star type wing who could do his thing. And then next to him, you put Hassan Whiteside and Nurkic. I was giving them shooting with Muscala. It was another power forward they were going to get. I think Noah Vonleh or something. And boom. And then Rodney Hood. I know the Spurs would be losing the all-star of the trade in DeRozan. But I mean, I don't really think Greg Popovich, R.C. Buford would be too crazy over losing DeMar DeRozan if he was playing like this in real life. His numbers have gone down in each category except the 3-point percentage. He's shooting 19 instead of 15. He has less turnovers, but he's only 19 points per game. He's only giving you 4 rebounds, giving you half of the assists he was giving you. He's not giving any steals, nothing. He's shooting 84% from the free throw line. That's cool. But then again, he's only 19% from 3. And then he's making what? He's 30 years old, making $27 million. He has a player option. With all of this youth and young talent, I don't think the Spurs would care about losing DeRozan if he was playing like this. That's just my honest opinion. You still have Aldridge. You put Steven Adams next to Aldridge because we know the Spurs and Greg Popovich like to play big. You still have DeJounte Murray. You still have Derek White. You still have DeMarre Carroll, Jakob Poeltl. You lose Patty Mills in his contract now for the next 2 years. So you're losing Patty Mills' contract, DeRozan's contract, and you're getting back what? They were getting back Steven Adams and Schroeder. 2 guys who come in and make this team a little bit more better. Schroeder is going to give you better minutes than Patty Mills. He just is. And then Steven Adams is coming in. He's a starting center. And now you're putting Jakob Poeltl on the bench. And you give him more experience with Steven Adams and just a better player. Jakob Poeltl was, a 76. and he's going down in the downward direction, which will now make him like a 75. Adams comes in at 82, boosts you up. You won't need a lot of money for this free agency class if you're the Spurs, because it's a bunch of restricted free agents. And then the next year, Steven Adams and Schroeder, their contracts are up, and then your money frees up for that class. And now Aldridge is also freed up, and then you just got DeJounte Murray, Derek White, and a couple of your young players, and you try to re-sign your guys or go out and get a new splash. But that's just my way of thinking towards things. But like I said, let's get into the details of trying to trade Steven Adams and Schroeder. Now, I was talking about trading them to the Hawks, but the only thing about the Hawks are going to be our last resort, just because the Hawks is basically a salary dump. We don't really get any youth. We don't get anything we can really build with or work with to add to our core. We're just freeing up money. And like I stated before, this upcoming free agency class in 2020, it'll be cool, and we're probably going to try and throw some money at some restricted free agents, but it's nothing that's going to be for sure. You know, anybody's going to be able to match our contract, so it's not nothing we can really feel too confident in. And a lot of guys may not even make it to the market, but I know Sabonis will be out there from the Pacers. Jaylen Brown will maybe be out there. Guys that like that at that level, we can probably try to chase. But then it gets tricky, because do we want to overpay them to the point where their team doesn't want to match it? And then we're overpaying a guy who's just a solid, serviceable starter. Don't know if I want to really get into that. Then you have a guy like Pascal Siakam. I doubt he hits the market. I'm guessing they're going to bring him back. He's already at 87 at 25. Let's see how his season's going. He's giving you 13, 7, and 1. I mean, it's cool, but I'm not really sure how they're even using him or playing with him. But the Spurs are my main priority. After the Spurs, maybe the Blazers, because I do like Zach Collins, and I think he could come into our core and add us some size, give us some size and length. But Lonnie Walker, out of all of the young talent that we've seen play, because we haven't seen Keldon and Luka play yet, but out of Lonnie, DeJounte, Jakob, Derek White, he's the one we haven't seen, and he's the lowest rating, and he seems to be the most pissed off. He's just unsatisfied. He's literally telling you right here with his contract thought, I'm done with San Antonio. I'll be moving on to a new team after the season. He's literally saying he's done. So I want to try to get him, because I know if a player like that is in real life, the Spurs is going to trade. Any organization is really going to trade a 20-some-year-old guy that hasn't really done much. They're going to trade him. I'm making it realistic, but I'm also making it realistic with the storylines that's going on my league. Real life, he's happy with the Spurs, but that has nothing to do with my league. I have to go off the storylines within my league, because what'll happen is people be like, "Oh, that's unrealistic," and then he'll hit the open market, and somebody else will sign him, and then I lose out on him because it's unrealistic. But he's going to be on a different team anyway, because there's no way 2K is going to bring him back to a team that he's just saying I'm not going to be with. That's just common sense. But anyway, what's going to make this trade difficult is the fact that these two guys combined make about $40 million. So I have to try to take Lonnie Walker and his contract with just $2 million on a rookie contract and make it match with $40 million. That's tough, number one, because Rudy Gay, who makes $14 million, is hurt. And then after that, you pretty much have only Patty Mills. So, I mean, him and Patty Mills, that's only $14 million. That's not even half of this $40 million that they're making together. So that's the hard part. That's why I wouldn't pull the third team in like the Blazers to try to get them involved. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back out and I'm going to try to use Trade Finder and see what they could do for us as far as trying to get Adams and Schroeder to the Spurs. See, they're putting in DeMar DeRozan, which is why I even brought a third team in, because last time I know I don't want DeMar DeRozan at all, but that tells me that they're willing to give him up because he's not doing shit on the court for them. He's just not. I don't know what team out there. I'm gonna look around. I don't know a team out there really that could use a DeMar DeRozan. It's tough because every team is looking for shooting. Bradley Beal is out with a broken right ankle, and John Wall is out for the season, so they're struggling over there in DC. But yeah, I mean, looking around the league, I don't see too many teams that could just downright use a DeMar DeRozan, not giving you threes. Yeah, I mean, He would have to be in a Jimmy Butler type situation where he goes to a team and he's automatically the best player. They might not have any young talent that's looking like they can do it. Like the Hornets, for example, who signed Jamal Crawford. You know, the Hornets have money to let off because they have like Marvin Williams making $15 million a year. They still have Bismack Biyombo making $17 million. And then last but not least, Nicholas Batum is making $25 million. And also Kid Gilchrist is making $13 million. But the thing about them that I don't like is they don't have any intriguing young talent that makes me want to do any business with them. You know, the Spurs have a Lonnie Walker or Jakob Poeltl. The Blazers have a Zach Collins. They don't really have them. They have Malik Monk, but Malik Monk is cool, but he's not like, it don't make me get excited knowing that I'm because I don't. What is he even doing for them? He's giving them 12 points, a season high. 2 assists is a career high. But he's only shooting 30% from the 3. He's playing 21 minutes, maybe a little bit more opportunity. So I mean, maybe. Looking at the team, the Jazz wouldn't need DeRozan. The Kings would have needed DeRozan. Maybe the Knicks would trade. I don't think the Knicks would even try to trade for DeRozan because you have to understand that whatever team gets him, they have to take that $27 million exception player option that he's going to accept after his contract is up. The Mavericks, no. The Nets are set. Nuggets, no. Maybe the Pistons. But I don't even know how a Blake Griffin and DeMar DeRozan fit could even work. Raptors probably not. He already played with the Raptors. I'm tripping. James Harden's hurt. So yeah, there's not a lot of options for DeMar DeRozan to even go to. I mean, out of all the teams that I've just named going across the league, the Blazers seem like the only fit or best fit that would make any type of sense. But, you know, just to give them a third guy. But I mean, there's really nobody that I'm looking at that screams DeMar DeRozan. The Grizzlies maybe. But then again, they don't have the young talent that makes me. Yeah, this is tough. The Cavaliers, but they have so many young guards that it's like you would think the Cavaliers would want to possibly let those guys, you know, take full responsibility of handling the basketball. You have Kevin Love. Okay, let me think. Kevin Love. Oh man, this is tough, man. This is tough. Or do I wait and let? Maybe I wait. Maybe I'm a sim, cause okay, look, we play the Spurs. I'm a sim through, right? Adjust manually. So I have to give Tony Snell some minutes. He'll get, how many minutes was, okay, it says Robeson was playing 20. I'll give him 12 minutes and we'll give somebody, a younger player, some more minutes. What young player deserves some more minutes? A lot of y'all been telling me I gotta change Teague's number. That is true. That is very, very true. Diallo has been ice cold, so I don't know if I really want to give him the minutes. Eric Moreland can come out and I'll give Justin Patton those 8 minutes. Make sure everybody's scoring out. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's simulate through. Still got to input the draft class. I did find the draft class that I do like, y'all. Just to keep y'all updated. It's real nice. They got the faces look very, very realistic. The Wizards are receiving Damian Jones and the Hawks are receiving Schofield. You know what? Well, I'm gonna say yes. Wait, no, I'm gonna say no because the Wizards have Thomas Bryant, Bertans, and Mo Wagner. That's why I have trade approval on, because they do shit like that just doesn't make sense for them. Spurs, let's see if Rudy Gay is healthy now. Rudy Gay is all the way healthy. This is tough for me because I'm looking at Rudy Gay's contract and he has 2 years. Also, I'm looking at Patty Mills, he has 2 years as well. So that's kind of throwing me off, turning me off. I would have to get both of them to try to make the money work, because Patty Mills is making what, 12 million, and then Rudy Gay is making 14 million. That's 26. Lonnie Walker's money is 2 million. That's about $30 million with all of them combined, and I would still be $10 million more with Schroeder, Adams, and then I would have to add a third player to make the player amount work. I'm not taking on two 2-year contracts. I'm not. I can't do it. So I think that trade with the Spurs is probably dead. Probably gonna have to dead that trade. Unfortunately, I like Lonnie Walker. The Blazers I like, but again, they don't need none of what I'm giving. They don't really need Steven Adams. I mean, they could probably use Schroeder, but Schroeder for Zach Collins straight up, even if Zach Collins is frustrated, I don't really like that deal at all. Personally, I don't think that's too realistic. So I think we may have to sim a little bit, get a little closer to the deadline. I'll just probably keep them. And then, once we get to that deadline, I have to make a decision. Do I just give it to the Hawks? Yeah, we're right here at the deadline. So I'll finish this episode with just simulating to the deadline. And then we'll close this episode out, see what happens during the sim, make sure nobody gets hurt or anything like that, see how the players have been doing, see how their training is doing. And then the Wizards receive Melly, the Pelicans receive Ish Smith. The Pelicans have Lonzo. Again, why do the Wizards need him when they have Hachimura, Bertans? The Wizards are just doing moves, and they 2 best players are basically hurt right now, so they should just be tanking, just chilling. And here's the Hawks. The Hawks want to do the trade. The Hawks want Steven Adams. They really want Steven Adams. We're gonna put that trade in our back pocket and just sit on it. Don't know if I would want Damian Jones. Not sure yet. Just because I have Justin Patton and I really like Justin Patton. The Heat receive Solomon Hill. I'll do this. Sure. So there's a trade. I'll let it happen. But yeah, I would much probably leave him in. I would probably rather just get Chandler Parsons and Evan Turner and let their money walk. Thunder receive Kelly Olynyk. We're declining that trade, man. We decline. I like Nerlens Noel. The Wizards receive Aaron Baines. Suns receive Ish Smith. I guess the Wizards are just dying to make a trade, so I'm gonna just let them have Baines. There's no reason for them to want him or to do anything. The Wizards, they're trying to do this trade again after getting Baines. It's very frustrating because 2K always tells you Spurs receive Brandon Knight, Cavaliers receive. I don't know, because why would the no. 2K always talks about how they're updating the logic and trying to do the trades realistic, so when you're doing in my league or whatnot, the CPU won't do dumb trades that don't make sense. But then it's like, yes they will. Yes they will. They still do it. They're still trying to do it. Wizards receive Derrick Jones. You Haslam. I don't think the Heat would trade Haslam at this point. They kept him all his career. He's a Miami boy. Thunder receive TJ McConnell. No, we're keeping Noel. The way that Simmons, Thunder receive. Why would they want Schroeder? Mavericks receive Garrett Temple. The Nets receive. Yeah, we'll do that. Why would they want Dennis Schroeder? The Knicks. They have Dennis Smith Jr., Frankie Ntilikina, Elfrid Payton, Alonzo Trier. No. Spurs receive Brandon Knight. No. Lead rotation as is. So yeah, next episode, episode 6, we'll be opening it up and getting right to the trade deadline. I might think about this. We'll look at that to start the next episode. But yeah, like I said, we'll open up with the trade deadline. We'll stop here. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Big Stacks Porzingis.